Okay, we've got all the new Cobra DarkSpeed Adapt drivers. I'm going to be testing all 4 models out, and we're going to be talking about the new FutureFit33 adapter system. Let's go. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So we've got all 4 new models in the Cobra DarkSpeed Adapt lineup. I'm going to be hitting each of them, kind of going through quickly the differences between them. I'm going to pick out my favorite from the bunch, and then we're going to play around a little bit with the new adapter system, the FutureFit33 adapter from Cobra. I'm going to tell you what I like, maybe what I don't like, and just hopefully give you a better idea what you should be paying attention to when you're looking at one of these new Cobra drivers. Okay, jumping right into it, we've got DarkSpeed Adapt Max D. This is their draw bias driver. That means they've got a little bit more weight down here on the heel side. We're going to be trying all of these out initially in the just neutral adapter setting. I've got the same shaft. I'm going to be plugging into each of these 4 different heads, so we won't have any changes there. So this is going to be, in general, the one that's going to want to help you move the ball left a little more. It's got a little bit of a draw bias face to it, and obviously with that internal weighting, again, it's meant to help keep the ball from going to the right, at least for a righty golfer. The looks on all these Cobra drivers I really like. You've got that matte black finish. The whole thing's pretty much blacked out. See a little tiny bit of the carbon weave. The head shape hasn't really changed too much from the previous model. Still looks very simple, clean, and again, in that dark finish keeps it sort of understated. The biggest difference you may notice is they've redone what the face looks like now, so it's supposed to give you a little easier time kind of framing up the ball and knowing where the center of that face is versus the previous look of what they had on the face there. Okay, that's all I'm going to hit with this one. I knew going into it, the Max D, any of these draw bias drivers are not a good fit for me when they have more of the weight focused here in the heel, because my miss is always going to be pretty much right out here on the toe side. And if you have a driver with more of the weight on the heel and you're hitting it way out here, that just makes it for a very unstable platform. So what you're going to see a lot of is a lot of sort of just weak, low ball speed shots. They're usually not going to go right, but you'll either have them kind of just drift out there like that, or sometimes you'll just hit some hard hooks. So not the right setup for me. Again, if you error on the toe side and you have most of your misses on the toe side, a draw bias driver like this is not necessarily going to be the best option. Okay, now we've got what should be an extremely popular driver from Cobra going out this season, is their version or their 10K MOI driver. So ultra stable, ultra forgiving. Definitely, I would think for me and my miss characteristics, it's going to be a better fit than that draw bias. Let's see what happens with this one. Looking down at it, looks pretty similar. Obviously, it's not quite as kind of draw biased. Not that the draw is overly draw biased. It doesn't sit closed really, just maybe a fraction. But this one does not show that at all. Sits much more neutral when you just set up with it. So let's see what happens with this guy. Again, neutral setting, same shaft. Now again, hit that, not great contact-wise, definitely out on the toe, definitely high on the face, but getting a lot better yardage, getting a lot better performance out of this setup than I was in the previous one. Yeah, definitely looking a little better. Again, contact-wise, still not great, still out on the toe, but I'll show you here from the distance difference between these. You can see this one definitely much more stable at impact versus that draw bias. Okay, next up we've got DarkSpeed Adapt X. This is the one that actually has two weights, a heavy and a light, that you can move backwards or forwards. I really like this design because it allows you to either have it in a more stable configuration with the weight back or in more of a power setting with more of the weight set forward. For me and my shaky driver, I'm always going to default to the more forgiving setting, so I have this driver already set up with the heavier weight set further back. Well, definitely lost that one a little bit out to the right, which brings up the point that, again, we are now moving into another driver that sits a little bit more open than the previous one. So this one's going to sit just a little more open face, so you have to be a little more aware of that. Also, profile of it, it looks maybe just a little bit flatter and a little bit longer from the face to the back end of it. Well, all right, well, you can kind of see here, we're a little bit more sporadic thus far, a little bit less down the middle. Again, this head is not going to be as forgiving as the previous one, so that's not necessarily a huge surprise, but it's also just not great swings. All right, finally, we are now in the LS, the low spin model. Now we've got 3 movable weights for a little bit more adjustability. More of that weight is naturally focused closer to the face. But again, for me, I've got the heavy weight instead of in the neutral setting, which is down here. I've pushed it back here, again, trying to give me a little bit more stability. We'll see what happens. Now this one definitely, when you look down on it, looks a little bit smaller versus the other ones, and definitely sits a little bit more open again. So it's gonna have more of a propensity for going right if you don't close it up. All right, now real quick, talking about FutureFit33, this new adapter. What do I like? What do I not like? If you have questions specifically about how these adapters work, I'm going to leave a link in the description to a video I did now a long time ago, but it is still the best explanation of how adjustable hosel clubs work and gives you a lot of good visuals. So if you have questions or you don't quite understand what's going on, check that video out. It is definitely going to be helpful, I guarantee it. So what do I like about this new FutureFit33 adapter? Well, one, I do like that it now gives you beyond just the perimeter, you can move right into the middle, into that central setting, and it allows for more adjustability in that you can adjust just the loft without the lie. I also like, and this is one of the biggest things probably, with some other brands, when you get into a cog style of adapter, it gets kind of big and chunky and just kind of ugly looking when you look down at it. This is very small, very compact. It really doesn't look, honestly, it doesn't really look any bigger than the previous Cobra adapter. It's essentially like a 3/8 of an inch taller maybe. That's probably about it, and it's got the, more numbers on it. But beyond that, it's not thick, it's not chunky, it just looks really clean and nice. Now, what do I not like so much about this adapter? Well, first off, I'll just go ahead and say it. 33 settings, and I realize you're going to have more settings when you have 2 different moving parts here, but 33 is way too many for most people. I think most people are probably just going to need to focus in again, just kind of on that outside wheel, those biggest changes, and maybe right there in the middle. And I think Cobra recognizes that too, because if you look right there at their little diagram, they highlight basically 9 points around the outside and 1 in the middle, sort of saying, these are where you probably need to be hanging out. For most golfers, unless you are an incredibly consistent, accurate golfer, or you're a robot, you are not going to be able to tell the difference in these minute changes going from all these different 33 settings. You're going to need to expand and have bigger changes to actually see a difference. I hit a bunch of golf balls now with what I thought are probably the 5 main settings. So most upright, most flat, highest loft, lowest loft, and completely neutral. What you'll see here, all of the loft changes did give me pretty obvious results. When I lofted it up, the ball went higher, it had more spin, I lost a little bit of efficiency. When I lofted it all the way down, the exact opposite happened, lower loft, lower launch, lower spin, better efficiency. However, when we move into the upright and flat settings, here's where it gets a little murky. And again, not a great driver of the golf ball by any means, but that's kind of the point. Unless you are really, really consistent, you're not going to see much of any difference here between the upright and the flat settings. Heck, if I look at those shots and you didn't tell me which was which, I wouldn't be able to tell you, looking at them, which ones were hit in the upright versus the flat setting. Remember, when it comes to lie angle, the flatter the face gets, the closer that face loft gets to 0, the less lie angle makes any difference. The less this is going to change things. So when we're talking about a driver that has very little loft to start with, these changes in lie angle are not going to produce much in the way of results. And that's, in this case, even going to the extreme ends, talking 4 degrees, which is as far as you can go, flat to upright. If you're only, moving in between these 33 settings, worried about your lie angle, that is going to be a complete waste of time, in my opinion, because you just won't see those results with a flat face club like a driver. So there you go. If you're looking for a new driver this coming year, I think Cobra has an option for basically anyone, from really good power ball strikers to people who maybe need a little more help. Definitely check these out. If you've got any questions, let me know down in the comments. If you're interested in a fitting, in a custom build, in a repair, all my contact information is down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.